Final day of the CODE Sports NBL Blitz here at the AIS Arena in Canberra. Joel Peterson and Derek Rucker with you. Two big games coming your way. The second game will decide the winner of the Loggins Bruton Trophy. The first game, two teams that need a win from this NBL Blitz. Southeast Melbourne and the Sydney Kings. There's still a lot that each of these teams can take away.
Yeah, both teams are loaded with Australian talent, but they were both down defensively in their first games here at the NBL Blitz. And I think Josh King will want to see a much improved performance, not only from his team defensively, but a couple of his key players as well. Brian Gorgian, much of the same. Can he gel this team together? It's very talented. They are a championship favorite. It's time for them to start to put this preseason together.
Bit of a watch on the Southeast Melbourne imports as well. It's going to be fascinating to see how they go this afternoon. The late game is New Zealand and Cairns, so 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and this is going to decide the winner of the Blitz. New Zealand need only win in any way, shape or form, and they will take home the trophy. Cairns can get equal with Tassie, but can't go ahead of them with the maximum points. So there's still a bit to play for.
Well, I'm very interested to see what Parker Jackson Cartwright does in this game. He is one of the premier match winners. He can take this game over on his own and win the competition in game 2 right here for New Zealand. But Cairns have something to offer as well. They're very balanced, and I think they're going to be a sleeper team this season.
Two big games coming your way. CODE Sports NBL Blitz action. It's all coming up next.
This is Kim, head pilot of Balloon Aloft Canberra. It's one of the capital's top outdoor attractions, and the rides usually sell out way in advance. It's no wonder Kim hasn't told you about the spectacular views of the city's roundabouts. Oh, and the National Arboretum, the Brindabella Range, and Lake Burley Griffin. As he always says, didn't think I had to. I mean, how do you put this into words anyway? Canberra, there's more than they're telling us.
We don't do clickbait, fake news, or influencers. And you can keep your FOMO, cheap tricks, and propaganda. We want nationwide muscle.
Get that India! Rise again!
Robust opinion.
It's on here!
The voice of sport.
No way! That is massive!
Anything else is just noise. CODE Sports. No BS, just sport. Grab the app today.
It is the final day of the CODE Sports NBL Blitz coming to you from the AIS Arena in Canberra. It'll all be decided throughout the course of the afternoon. The Loggins Bruton Trophy. So much to play for, especially in the late game this evening. It's going to be another massive day of hoops here in Canberra. Joel Peterson and NBL MVP Derek Rucker with you. Our first game for broadcast is Southeast Melbourne and the Sydney Kings, who both haven't won here at the Blitz so far this campaign, and both will be looking to take a W on the road as they go home tonight, Ruck.
Two teams filled with very good Australian talent. They were a bit down, both teams, in game 1 of the Blitz, Joel, but I expect a much better performance, and I think both of these head coaches are defensive-minded, and neither team was good on that end of the floor in their first game. So look for a much improved performance there. I think coaches want to see better intensity and execution, but I really like the fact that there's so much Australian talent here on the floor.
Absolutely. Had a chat to Josh King beforehand. He wasn't all that pleased, not surprisingly, with what he saw against New Zealand the other night. The Southeast Melbourne Phoenix beaten 109-101. He wants to see a different mentality from his team tonight, a little bit more attention to detail, come a little bit more ready to play. You had a chat to Brian Gorgian pre-game. What did he have to say?
Well, we were talking about his starting lineup and how that is going to look during the regular season. Now, tonight's starting lineup won't be reflective of what it may look like during the regular season for Kings fans, but Brian Gorgian has been quite pleased with the way Jalen Galloway has looked. He's coming off a strong Asia Cup performance, and I imagine that he'll get that starting spot when the regular season starts. The Kings so loaded with perimeter talent, so Brian Gorgian has really good decisions to make.
We'll get our starting lineups very shortly. Of course, the NBL Blitz standings all important as we go into this final day of 5 here in Canberra. The Tassie Jack Jumpers recorded a stirring win last night to put themselves top of the pops. And here you can see the equation. So the Sydney Kings and Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, a maximum of 7 points on offer for a win if you win all 4 quarters. They are not in contention to win the Blitz. The Cairns Taipans are. They would need a perfect game against New Zealand to vault to the top, or to tie 1 quarter, win 3 and win the game. And the New Zealand Breakers, they are in the catbird seat, essentially. If they win in any way, shape or form against the Cairns Taipans later this afternoon, it'll be the Loggins Bruton Trophy headed over the ditch.
Well, day 5 undoubtedly will be a very exciting one. It's been an excellent event thus far, Joel, but in this first game here, I anticipate high energy, high intensity, as both teams are really looking to go home on a good note. You don't want to leave this Blitz feeling like you didn't get anything accomplished. And certainly you don't want to walk into practice Monday morning with an irate Brian Gorgon or Josh King.
Yep, Josh King, they have got 3 more preseason games to come, the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. They will play 7 all up. Josh King said he'd like to play 10. There's Kendrick Davis, who's not out there for the Sydney Kings. The starting lineup for the Kings, so Galloway, Dellavedova, Tim Suarez, Kwatnoi, Qual, no Xavier Cooks.
No Xavier Cooks. He told me before the game he'll probably play about 15 minutes. And for the Phoenix, we've got Foxwell, Sobey, Hunter, Lewis, and Brown. Really keen to see John Brown III, a real professional player, more of an enforcer. Jordy Hunter's been in exceptional form in the preseason. I'm really looking forward to this ball game. Absolutely,
it's going to be intriguing to see whether or which of these 2 teams can get on the winners list for their preseason here in NBL 26. The final day of the Code Sports NBL Blitz. Great to have the support of Code Sports. For more than just the score, head to codesports.com.au throughout the course of the season. And a glorious day here in the nation's capital, in the Bush Capital Ruck. I went up to the top of Mount Ainslie today and looked over the side of a beautiful blue sky day here in Canberra and tripped around the place. Drove past the Belgian embassy, a little bit of Vrens Blyenberg action. I just waved good afternoon to them and said, passed on my regards on behalf of the big Belgian. And it's a fun place to explore on a day like today.
Yeah, it was a crisp, sunny morning. I went for a walk. As the viewers know, I've done a little bit of damage to the body, so I had a nice, easy walk this morning, Joel, and went out for a cup of coffee with our colleague, Olga Newlich, and just preparing myself for a great Sunday here at the AIS Arena.
Again, a solid crowd has rolled up. All 5 days of this Blitz sold out. It's been tremendous support from the locals, getting behind the return of NBL basketball. Of course, WNBL basketball will be here before they know it, with the Canberra Capitals starting their season. That all kicks off on October 18. Our NBL season kicks off on September 18. Jordy Hunter, Tim Suarez to contest the tip. The former Kings teammates. Distinct Sydney flavour to this Southeast Melbourne team, as we've seen in recent seasons. What a time we've had here in the nation's capital. It all draws to a close this afternoon. The last day of the Code Sports NBL Blitz. The Loggins Bruton Trophy to be decided throughout the course of the evening. Our first game is Southeast Melbourne and Sydney, both trying to get on the board. For Kings fans, will catch up with Chris Pongras at the start of the second quarter. Foxwell and Hunter can't connect on the opening possession for the Phoenix.
Foxwell throws that one away, and that was definitely a lob opportunity. He tried to go with a direct pass, and Hunter was expecting it up near the rim.
Jalen Galloway looks primed for a big return season. Dellavedova in the corner. It is still weird to see him in these colours, Ruck, I've got to say. Sobey from outside, no good. Suarez rips it down. Typical Dally game in game 1. Facilitating and doing a little bit of everything. Kwatnoi misses what he would have liked to have. And Malik Lewis made a really bright start in the Phoenix's first game. Hit a couple of threes early. His effort and intensity was good, and he's going to the rack there to start.
A little bit of a sloppy start to start this one, and Lewis went to the bucket. Dellavedova tried to take the charge. Now, the whistle was not blown for a charge. I thought there was contact. Lewis should have gone to the line to shoot 2.
Suarez up top, full Qual outside.
Paul Qual, a strong outside shooter, was plagued by a knee injury last season. Never really got himself started in his first season with the Kings. High expectations for his recovery in NBL 26.
He's gone back to number 42 for this season as well. Ruck, here's Brown with the midi.
Interesting shooting technique, very effective.
Little hitch in and at the top. Suarez misses underneath, and then he just pinches it off Hunter. And tried to pop it in over the top of him. John Brown, the third, of course, almost played with the Perth Wildcats a few seasons ago. Didn't get clearance to do so. He's been a long-time stalwart of European basketball, an absolute terror on the defensive end is his calling card, and that's a really strong finish from Malik Lewis.
Well, they caught Dellavedova in a mismatch down there, and Lewis wasn't the smoothest move, but effective as he gets an easy two. Delly right back at him on his right hand, one of the best in the league. He's got an assortment of finishes off his right hand, and that was a beauty.
Foxwell for three. He'll stay in white. Lewis likes the look of it, and he'll like the look of it going down even more.
Several NBA scouts in the house and here in Australia for this event, and they've all asked me what I've thought about Malik Lewis's three ball, as Qual misses one from the corner, but Lewis looks like he smoothed that jumper out in the offseason. He was at Las Vegas for the Summer League. In the first game, he knocked down a couple of three balls, and that's a good start here because that's something that he will be expected to do well if he wants to play at the highest level.
Coming back for a second campaign with the Phoenix, Malik Lewis. John Brown is called for steps. The book on Brown, so I like the work of Michael Herman, who does some great stuff for basketball.com.au, who said he may not be the same John Brown that Perth would have got a few years ago, but he is still going to be a problem for a lot of teams. A watch to see what he can produce throughout the course of the season. Suarez misses another at the hoop. He's had some great opportunities in the early going. He's been able to stick any.
Sydney 1 of 8 from the field.
Of course, the turnover here. Third for the Phoenix. Dellavedova's up the floor. That one falls off the front of the rim. 1 of 9 now, Ruck. Southeast Melbourne by 5. Lewis from the corner. Again shooting at will. DJ Mitchell about to check in. Brown gets that to go.
Just a true professional of the international game. Galloway, an early transition, gets isolated on Brown and felt he had an athletic and a quickness advantage and was able to draw a foul. He'll go to the line to shoot two. More substitutions coming into the game.
Brown's going to be fun to watch against those big, powerful wings, the likes of Jalen Galloway, isn't he?
He is, and looking at the construction of the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, he could find himself in a situation where he's guarding up, guarding 4s and 5s as well, as Josh King looks for more defensive versatility in different scenarios. Galloway knocks down the first one.
John Brown, of course, a big part of European basketball over many years. Scan the QR code on screen. Partizan Panathinaikos coming to play the Sydney Kings. Kings will be in action against Partizan on the 21st of September. You can get your tickets. For that, it's going to be immense to see those two giants of European basketball come down under. 5-point lead to the Phoenix. DJ Mitchell makes it 11.
DJ Mitchell, someone who can score the ball at a nice efficiency rate, and that was early in the offense, but he got to a mid-range spot, pulled the trigger, knocked it down.
First time in a couple of years we've seen DJ Mitchell, who had a troubled play stop with Brisbane a couple of seasons ago.
Right there, he just doesn't sit down in the stance, and you know when Kawhi Noy catches the ball, he's got one thing on his mind, and that's trying to get a bucket. So requires the utmost attention, sitting down in the stance and being ready to slide your feet.
Saying odds are if Kawhi's not got the ball, it's not
being
going to move
passed.
again. Oh, Gack got a piece of that from Suarez, but got some contact on the way through. What a season he had last year, Courtney. He, you know, not being one of the absolute biggest names we see on the Amy replay there, the foul on Gack. Not being one of the absolute sort of biggest household names. He's so good for this competition with what he brings in terms of his confidence and the swagger that he brings to the table.
He's top 5 in both of those categories, Joel.
Yes, and I think he would rate himself in the top 5 in both of those categories and maybe a few more.
You know, with Sydney getting off to this 1 for 10 start from the field, keep in mind last season, they were below average on the offensive end. Exceptional defensively. They led the league in defense. And Brian Gorgon will be looking for an uptick in the offense, and there's no reason why it shouldn't happen.
Maldonado kicks it out. Back to that 5-point lead for the Phoenix.
Nice offense.
Ball movement. Can Mitchell finish it off? He can't. Gack almost ripped it down. Josh King would be a little bit more pleased with what he's seen from his team in the early going here, almost halfway through. 5-point lead to the Phoenix. Noyes driving it. This time he does kick it out. Bruce, Galloway.
Ooh.
That's not going to do it for Jalen Galloway. So 9th in pace last year, the Sydney Kings. They were 6th in terms of offensive efficiency. Lewis has lost that into the rafters. Do you expect that we see a different style of offense from this Sydney team as Bruce goes to the hoop, or just the same offense better executed?
Well, I think this season they need to maintain the outstanding defense. That's a non-negotiable. But last year I thought their defensive rebounding was really poor as Mitchell lines one up. The defensive rebounding let them down, and also the conversion off of stops. And I think with Kendrick Davis out there in the lineup, a healthy Jalen Galloway and Bull Quall, it should help them offensively in that regard. So, but again, it's all predicated off of good defense. As Glover knocks one down, such a good player, well-rounded. And generally, when he knocks down his first shot, Joel, it means good things are coming for the balance of the game.
Plenty of them last year. Couple of career highs back-to-back. Angus Glover, in his first season at South East Melbourne, played a big role for Josh King throughout the course of the season. Started 12 of his 36 appearances, and particularly in the middle part of the year when Derek Walton Jr. wasn't around, he was entrusted to bring the ball up and do a lot of different things for the South East Melbourne Phoenix.
Just a good, honest player. Got good size on the wing. Can play a little bit of one. Can guard your best player. And now an interesting substitution here. Vrenz Weisenberg. You mentioned him before. Wasn't great in game 1. And this is a guy who needs to have an impact on game, because the loss of Matt Hurt is a huge void to fill. And coming in here as an import, he's had a good career in Europe, but he needs to transfer that here.
What do you want to see from him in this second outing? Here's Xavier Cooks, who's met by Blindberg at the ring.
Well, Blindberg has a reputation of being a shooter. He's got the moniker of the unicorn, and to be able to stretch defenses, probably needs to do a little bit better job on seeing the ball there and being able to tag up on that diving Xavier Cooks. But I think just a bit more aggression, toughness on the defensive glass, and that will go a long way to pleasing his coach, Josh King.
61% free throw shooter last season, Xavier Cooks. It's interesting you mentioned he's a shooter, Blindberg. He's shot 39% his last season in Turkey. That's probably the outlier for his career. His career's probably more around a 34% three-point shooter. So more than capable,
yeah, well,
but not an absolute knockdown threat.
But if you look at the stroke, you would think that at some point he starts to really put it together. Glover feeling confident.
DJ Mitchell goes crashing into John Brown. Josh King wanted a little bit more urgency on that loose ball from his team.
And right now, even though the Kings are down 6, Brian Gorgon would be much happier with the defense in terms of the total number of points. Southeast Melbourne only have 14 at this stage, and Josh King would be delighted holding Sydney to 15% from the field, and they get another steal.
Maldonado this time. Can't finish.
They're just outplaying the Kings right now.
Out hustling them, outworking them. Foul is called. Mitchell was trying to track it down. Fouls on Luepa one of their two new DPs, the Sydney product out of the North Bears. No Kendrick Davis, no Jason Spurgeon, of course, no Kelly Leo Pepe either for the Sydney Kings. No Aaliyah, no Bigger, and no Foster for the South East Melbourne Phoenix. Daniel Foster's on the bench with his left arm in a sling. He had a shoulder injury in that first game against New Zealand, so hopefully a speedy recovery from him as John Brown makes his move to the hoop and he's fouled.
And there's really no one out there on the floor for the Kings that can match up with John Brown the way the lineups are, because Xavier Cooks has got the Vince Blydenberg matchup.
I feel like John Brown would be aligned with your man Damon Lowry in some ways. He chatted to the NBL crew as part of NBL Now a couple of weeks ago and talked about his off-season regime and the warm-up for his off-season regime, which it started with 100 push-ups. And that's just the warm-up, started with 100 push-ups. You know, and then some pull-ups and real Damon Lowry areas that.
Our man Damon, all about the fitness and making sure you're at your maximum.
I think he's got a challenger. I think he and John Brown, we need to arrange them to go head-to-head.
Fifth turnover.
Maldonado comes up with it. He's fouled going to the hoop. He's been active.
Sorry, my mistake. That's only 2 turnovers for the Kings.
Maldonado's come up with both of them. Here in the Amy replays, fouled by Robertson. The output from the South East Melbourne Phoenix's imports will go a long way. And it does with any team, right? What you get from your imports goes a long way to determining your success. But particularly for this South East Melbourne team, the way it's constructed, they could sort of sink or swim with how these 3 guys go in Brown, Blindberg, and Maldonado.
That's correct, and I think we have a pretty good idea. These guys in Nathan Sobey and Angus Glover and Jordy Hunter, we have a pretty good idea what they're going to produce. But it's who's going to provide the balance, who's going to travel. Who's going to be that import that really moves the needle in terms of winning basketball games? And it doesn't have to be just offense. It can be on the defensive end. It can be leadership. There's so many ways to affect a basketball game's outcome.
John Brown seems like he will bring all of that. Get the scoring punch out of Maldonado, and what can Blindberg deliver in sort of all facets of the game? He bounces it into Brown there. Delvedova getting set to check back into the contest. Kings down 8-16, 2:15 remaining in the opening frame. Code Sports NBL Blitz, day 5. Both teams looking for their first win. Joel Peterson and Derek Rucker with you. Felix von Hoff to jump into commentary for game 2 this evening. First foul shot will fall for Brown.
Kings 0 of 5 from the 3. 2 of 14 from the field. And with those shooting percentages, the Phoenix are also dominating on the glass.
Bruce gets some separation on Glover. Blindberg to tap it out to Maldonado. He's in attack mode, stepping back and counting the triple.
I thought he was subpar in the first game the other night, but he's looked a lot more confident in this one. Delly with a little floater.
From Maribara, just probing the defense. Maldonado with another one. Very nice sign for the South East Melbourne Phoenix. Noise overcooked the entry pass.
Very, very shaky start here from the Sydney Kings.
Up to 4 turnovers now. The Kings being out-rebounded by 7. Shooting 3 of 16. Haven't hit a 3-ball. South East Melbourne shooting at 44%. They're 4 of 8 from outside. Maldonado's hit a couple. Stepped on the line there.
Southeast Melbourne extend this pressure up the floor.
Starts getting into Bruce. Gully gets the screen from Noy. Now Noy makes his move to the cup and drove into a wall of white and green jerseys. Glover on the attack. Maldonado finishes it off.
Joel, it's just effort-based at the moment. Sloppiness on offense from the Kings. And as we said a few minutes ago, Southeast Melbourne clearly are intent on providing more effort.
Noy puts a stop to the rod.
That's an equalizer.
First 3-ball of the game, 1 of 7 from outside, 4 of 17 overall, the Kings. Maldonado to Brown, again, that mid-range jump shot. Looks like something he can go to with regularity.
Last shot situation of this first quarter.
Half a second difference between the shot and the game clock. Dellavedova realises that. Noy fires away and connects. So a nice end to this opening term for the Kings, who struggled for much of it. And they go into quarter time down by 12. 16 to 28 after the end of one. Final day here at the CODE Sports NBL Blitz. It's the Phoenix 28, the Sydney Kings 16. Both looking for their first win as part of this campaign. Phoenix shooting 48% in that opening frame. Couple of 3-pointers, both to Courtney. So at least something for the Kings to work with going to quarter time, D-Ruck.
Josh King would be very pleased with that performance. They were solid on the offensive end. 5 turnovers from each team. Both need to work on that, tidying it up. But Southeast Melbourne very balanced. I like the mix of inside, outside scoring, dominating on the glass, up by 8 there. They've been able to turn steals into buckets on the other end, and were it not for Kwat Noy knocking down a couple of threes at the end of that first quarter, Southeast Melbourne will have a very, very handy lead. Scoring leaders, Maldonado, he's come in and shot the ball very effectively, and John Brown, you can see the quality of that man. He's got 9 points as well.
Malik Lewis with 3 rebounds. It's been a gang rebounding effort, plus 8 in that category, 17 to 9 Southeast Melbourne. So Josh King would be pretty pleased with all of that. Had a chat to him pre-game. It was interesting to sort of reflect on him learning the NBL still.
Yes.
So of course he wasn't at the Blitz last year, Josh King. People were saying, oh, you know, what did you think of the Blitz last year? Well, I wasn't here. He landed, of course, after Mike Kelly was removed from that position. Then Sam McKinnon had coached a couple of games. Ended up going 10 and 16, or 16 and 10 over the end of the season. A pretty wild time in his life too at that point. So he just had a child. So he and his wife had just had a baby. His daughter turned 1 yesterday. So you sort of lay down the timing of everything that happened. She was born in Turkey, and he's then here about 2 months later and trying to find a house and get to know this team. So he is very much still learning the competition, what works, the rhythm of a pre-season. So as much as it feels like it's his second campaign and he's getting a look at everything, he's still trying to figure it out on the fly here for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix.
Yeah, he is, and he set a really good standard last season once he got here, and getting that team into the semifinals. That foul will be called on Kwat Noy, trying to keep John Brown III off the glass. I think starting this second quarter, Kings coach Brian Gordon will be looking for intensity. And their defensive performance must lift. 28 points in the first. Not a good sign.
5 of 18 in that opening frame. Lewis with the turnaround. That's nice.
That stroke is vastly improved. We know he's got the body. He's a good rebounder. He's worked on his handle also in the offseason. And Foxwell really applying hard pressure to Dellavedova.
31% three-point shooter last season, Malik Lewis. He can keep bumping that up and making that keep the defense honest. And he'll find more opportunities going to the rim. No doubt about that. Foxwell and Dellavedova get tangled up. Great season for Owen Foxwell last year, and it's going to be a big part of this team for Josh King. There's Dellavedova to Galloway, who throws it down.
Dellavedova's so good working off the block. He can back you down, but he's also got great vision and passing ability, as we saw right there. Galloway slams it home.
If you're Jalen Galloway, the prospect of playing with someone like Delly must be tremendously exciting. Lionberg nets a 3.
That will do wonders for his confidence. Knock one down from deep. Let's see if it opens up the rest of his game. Suarez, nice handle out here on the floor. And realistically, there's no need for Hunter to be out there over pressuring the basketball. Just a good arm's length. Stay down in your stance and keep Suarez in front of you. Dellavedova again on the block.
15-point lead to the Phoenix. Delly working on Sobey, 2 veterans of the scene. Of course, the NBL1 National Finals have been on here in Canberra across the course of the weekend as well. Ruck, we've had our 2 championship games today. So in the women's earlier today, it was Knox 93 to Coburn 72. So the Coburn Cougars can't complete the undefeated regular season. And the Knox Raiders, who won the NBL1 South Championship, go on to win the national title. Paige Bradley, the MVP of that contest. And in the men's, the Canberra Gunners, the hometown team, have got the job done out of the NBL1 East, 86-67 over the Geraldton Buccaneers. Will Mayfield with 21 and 14. Leading the way for that Canberra team that's got some real continuity, has played together well, so the locals will be pretty pleased with that, you'd imagine. Great pass from Hunter to find Lewis, who gives it up to Foxwell. His 3 was offline. They've moved the ball well. They've looked really sharp, the Phoenix.
And Foxwell rushed that one there. He had more time than he thought, and Dellavedova was taking matters into his own hands, trying to get the Kings back into this game.
13-point deficit for Sydney. Just under 2 minutes played here in this second period. Code Sports NBL Blitz, day 5, the final day here in the nation's capital. What's been your Canberra highlight so far, Ruck?
I really enjoyed the food, but also from the pure basketball perspective, you know, I love hanging out at the hotel, in the restaurant, getting to talk to everybody. You know, we're so fortunate with so many high character people in the NBL, and it's good to reconnect, and the accessibility is what I really enjoy.
Great chat to Mike Wells and Matt Weston after the Adelaide game last night, as Blindberg rolls that one in and
starting to find a little rhythm. Nice move.
Coaches and players are always all too happy to stop for a chat. Hunter helps Suarez to put that one in. Tried to come across for the block and ended up just tapping it in. Suarez has got 4 points. He's had a rough time of it, trying to finish at the rim for the most part, though. Galloway with the takeaway.
Ooh,
transition.
quick hands.
Foxwell got him. Lewis in rhythm. Dellavedova probing outside to Qual. A bit strong on the 3. Xavier Cooks is fouled on the rebound.
And you look at this Sydney Kings team, and there's a real need for Kendrick Davis and his skill set and what he brings to the table. They need that quickness, that ability to create his own shot, and I think that will free up a lot of aspects of this Sydney Kings offense. He's going to be so important this season for Sydney in the Kings' quest for a title.
We're expecting Chris Pongrass to come and sidle up here for the second quarter. Haven't seen him as yet, so we'll keep working on that, Kings fans, to get you a little bit of insight into your team ahead of NBL 26. They've played a couple of preseason games, the Sydney Kings, down in Tassie in the early part of the campaign, and then 2 here, and they'll be, of course, involved in the Pavlos Yiannakopoulos tournament as well.
Let's see what Brian Gorgon dials up here on a made free throw. See if they jump into some type of pressure up the floor. They'll just go straight man.
Maldonado getting set to check back into the game. Been impressive with 9 points for the Phoenix. Lewis working inside. Xavier Cooks. Sobey keeps it in and then goes crashing into the stands. Lewis from the corner. You bet.
Much better flow on his three-point shot. And Foxwell's made 2 or 3 outstanding plays on loose balls where he's used his quickness to get possession.
There'll be a lot of people excited by this from Malik Lewis. One of them sits to our left on the baseline in our very own Liam Santa Maria. Xavier Cooks with a tough finish. That's trademark Cooks. So dominant in that Asia Cup final for the Boomers. Put together a terrific campaign there. Of course, the ignominious end to last season, so I'll be keen to atone with a deep postseason run this year if he can. The numbers were really good for Xavier Cooks last year. So 15 points, nearly 9 rebounds, 4 assists, a block, a steal, 57% shooting, the 3-ball only down at 30%. It never felt like it was prime Xavier Cooks, though, even though the numbers were sort of in line with his MVP campaign. It never... Did you get the sense that it just didn't feel like he was at his sharpest throughout the course of the season?
It didn't get to that elite dominance. And while the numbers were serviceable, given the circumstances of the Sydney Kings last year and the injuries they faced, he never got to that MVP-type level as Suarez is deep from the corner.
Sobey races up the floor, can't put it in. Jack just goes hanging around on the rim after it all. Cooks can't keep it alive for Sydney.
Southeast Melbourne's just been quicker to the basketball.
Georgia Gack inside.
Thought that was a foul.
Had to adjust the finish with Galloway coming across. 11-point lead to the Phoenix, just over halfway gone here in this second term as Awan gets set to check back in. Galloway's fouled going to the hoop. Do you think Xavier Cooks has still got an MVP level season in him?
Without a doubt. And once this team gets into full bloom in the next 2 or 3 months, he should be a part of why they are a special team. And there's going to be so much attention on Kendrick Davis, on Matthew Dellavedova, that Xavier Cooks will have a real opportunity to excel. And I think, you know, it goes back to kind of the years with Derek Walton Jr., where Cooks was just outstanding. And he still got the high motor, excellent athleticism. Just a prototypical 4-man in the National Basketball League. Good pass.
Maldonado inside. Mitchell can't finish.
Nice work.
Nice defense from Awan and Suarez, but able to stay with it to get that to go off the glass.
And the screen and roll action from Southeast Melbourne has been problematic for Sydney. They haven't always converted, but opportunities have been present.
Malawatch working his way inside and finishing on the second attempt. going to ask you a question from left field. I'm going to put my Bill Simmons hat on.
Hit me with it.
Whose team is the Sydney Kings? Whose team is it? So, you know, Melbourne, it's Chris Golding's team, right? Adelaide will be Bryce Cotton's team. Any team that Bryce is on is Bryce Cotton's team. As Lewis soars to the hoop, he can't finish. Maldonado from outside. Whose team is Sydney? Is it Daly?
Maldonado's gone down. Sorry, Joel. He's hurt his knee after that three-point attempt. I'm not sure if there was contact, but he's down holding that left knee. And perhaps we'll get a replay to see what actually happened. And during the timeout, I will address that left field question.
He's just getting to his feet now, is Hunter Maldonado. 40-33 Southeast Melbourne. Here's another look at it.
Just a little clip. That's tough. A lot of misfortune in that play. Okay, so who is the Sydney Kings? Who is the man on this team, essentially, is what you're asking.
Who's the man?
There's no doubt that it's Kendrick Davis. And it's a very unique situation, right? Because two of the guys that I'm going to mention are new to the team. And in an established franchise like the Kings, it's very hard to come in as a free agent and make it your team. Because the incumbent is Xavier Cooks. But when I look at who's the most important player for Sydney, I think I'm going to go with Matthew Dellavedova, because he carries the burden of being the leader, of being the engine, of being the brain, being the organizer, the team psychologist. There's so much that comes with what Matthew Dellavedova's obligations are in trying to help this Sydney Kings team get to championship level. So it's a tough one, but if I was put under the pump like you just did, there's my answer. Dellavedova.
All right, I like it. I like it. That's why. I know I can throw these things at you and you'll bounce back something to me.
Keeps me sharp, Joel.
Derek Rucker alongside myself, Joel Peterson, Felix von Hoff, to jump in for commentary of Game 2 tonight. Final day of the Code Sports NBL Blitz.
Oh, wow.
And that's a giveaway from the Phoenix. Malawatch, nice finish. Starting to fight their way back into the game. The Kings only down by 5. Of course, from slam dunks to the stories you don't see on game night, Code Sports has your NBL covered like no one else. Expert analysis, insider access on and off the floor. Head to codesports.com.au today or download the Code Sports app. Get the best NBL coverage in the business.
Sydney's got a lot more pop on the defensive end now.
Cook's called for the foot violation. Noi, Malawatch, Awan, Cooks, Bruce, the 5 for Brian Goorjian. Glover, Mitchell, Lionberg, Brown, Foxwell for Josh King as Glover goes to the hoop.
Direct line penetration. Very hard for help defenders to find the time to get positioned properly, but that was really poor on the ball defense.
Your man getting set to check back in.
Correct.
Held it over. Noi, Bruce swings it to Malawatch, who hits from the corner.
Shown a lot of promise over the past couple of seasons. I thought that there were times in each of those seasons where he could have been utilized a bit more, and I'll be looking forward to more participation in games from Malawatch.
Played a little bit more at the back end of last season for Brian Goorjian. Just increased that role as Glover hits from the corner.
But it's those types of mistakes right there on the defensive end, giving up too much space to a known shooter.
8 for Glover. Noi at the other end once, twice, almost thrice. Brian Goorjian thinks it wasn't also nice.
Good
Lionberg
pass.
inside, beautiful feed to Mitchell.
Bleisenberg's looked much better in this game, Joel. Knocked down some shots, made some nice passes. 3 assists, a couple of rebounds in just 9.5 minutes. And that will give Josh King, the Phoenix head coach, a lot more comfort seeing the big fella find some level of form. It doesn't take much for basketball players to start feeling good about themselves, and then that manifests in their performances. You can see a real uptick quickly.
played well against Melbourne United despite losing in one of their pre-season games, the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. So they beat Cairns, they lost to Melbourne, but they jumped out to an early lead there in the first 15-20 minutes. Looked really good for them. They lost to New Zealand 109-101 earlier in the weekend. So they've had patches of some good basketball. Josh King wanted to see a little bit more from his team. They then go to Perth, so they're back in Melbourne next week, and then they head to Perth for 3 games over there. They play the Wildcats, the Ryukyu Golden Kings, and the Shibuya Sunrockers. Part of the B-League series over there. Glover hits another 3. 11 for Glover to lead all scorers now. 10-point lead to the Phoenix. Leinberg is called for the contact.
And again, knowing where Glover is on the floor is imperative.
Apologies, it was Mitchell who was called for the foul.
Got clearly across the forearms, but when Glover's feeling the way he is right now, it's an arm length, no matter where the ball is. And the onus goes on the 4 other defenders to handle the business. And from the flip side, this is why excellent shooters are so valuable in the modern game. And let's see now the Phoenix with a 10-point lead with Malawash to shoot 2. Curious to see what they run on the other end now that Glover started to heat up. He's got 11 points on a 57% clip. Brian Gorgian is contemplating how he can reverse the fortunes of his team in this second half. They don't want to go home. I mean, I know it's preseason, but we're dealing with uber competitive people. You're never going to feel good going home 0-2.
Speaking of feeling good, Angus Glover is exactly that. Back-to-back threes. 14 points now.
They set him up perfectly. They brought him off a little zipper type turnout action.
Noy misses. This ball's only going to one place. The flaming hot hand of Angus Glover's got to see it. Leek Lewis likes his luck. Play tight there on Glover with Jalen Galloway, making sure he couldn't get access to the rock. And Galloway on the other end tries to finish with the left hand.
I like that
from Lewis.
I like that move from Galloway. Good quickness. Got it on his left hand. And was able to work up some athletic momentum and draw that foul.
44 seconds remaining. Southeast by 12. 53-41. New Zealand Cairns will decide the Loggins Bruton Trophy a little bit later tonight. 6 o'clock Eastern time. 8 o'clock for those across the ditch. Breakers looked the goods the other night.
Yeah.
Isaiah Brockington looked nice. PJC was PJC. Probably leading the MVP race at the halfway point of last season. He's right in the thick of a certain individual's top 15 as well.
Correct.
Malawatch from outside. And when he's at his best, he's such a force of nature, PJC. He's going to be fun to watch again a little bit later on this evening.
His appeal is so vast. You know, kids love him, fans love him, and, you know, the basketball purists, he's great to watch because he plays the correct way.
Did you see what the Breakers teased on socials the other day? It looks like a sort of a jersey drop or something. And so jump on the Breakers socials when you get a chance on Instagram. They put together a reel as they're going to get a timeout with 23 seconds remaining. Southeast Melbourne 53, Sydney Kings 42 at the Code Sports NBL Blitz. Joel Peterson, Derek Rucker with you. So they put together a reel where Parker Jackson Cartwright sort of, you know, looking all cool. He's got the shades on. He's standing with sort of a bit of a warehouse, industrial type setting. And he's just standing there up against a big black shipping container. And someone walks past looking all mysterious and drops off a black New Zealand Breakers bag. And he's, you know, Parker takes it away, sees that guy walking off, looks inside the bag, and, you know, he's pretty happy with what he sees, takes it into the locker room, and then it just sort of cuts away and says all will be revealed on the 2nd of September.
Right.
So I got a feeling that the Breakers are going to drop their new back in black uniforms.
So Tuesday is this release time.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. But yeah, it's a cool little production and just shows what a cool dude Parker Jackson Cartwright is.
And New Zealand do a very good job with their social media, have for a number of years.
Yeah.
Can I show you something that's quite alarming that I've just noticed? Southeast Melbourne have 11 offensive rebounds. And Sydney were one of the worst teams in the league last year with defensive rebounding. And, you know, we talked about it often last season, their need for an extra big. So it's just something to keep an eye on if they can actually improve in that statistical category. But it's problematic right here in this game.
9th in defensive rebound percentage last season, the Kings. To illustrate that point from NBL MVP Derek Rucker. Foxwell outside, Brown. Weinberg's a long way from home as the clock winds down. He thought about it though. He sizes up Galloway, the two sixes at one another. The fadeaway from Friends Blyenberg. What a way to end the first half from the big Belgian.
Well, you saw why people believe in his ability and call him the unicorn at 6'10", able to create a nice shot opportunity against one of the best on-ball defenders in the competition in Jalen Galloway. Big shots there. Phoenix go into the break up 13.
Now they'll be excited about that at the Belgian Embassy, Ruck. No doubt about that. That joint will be pumping up there at Yarralumla. Let's take another look at it on the AAMI replay.
Nice fluidity with the basketball. Bounces off the left foot. Bucket.
Hit a three. He's made a couple of impressive shots, and you just see like the length and the way that he moves. He's going to be an imposing prospect to stop throughout the course of the season. His friends Blyenberg, so a nice start for him. He's got a handful of points, and the Southeast Melbourne lead at 55-42 at the half. Josh King would be infinitely more pleased with what he saw than last time out. Brian Gorgon's got a little bit of work to do. The kids are out here at the AIS Arena at halftime, so we'll step away and come back with all the second half action. Phoenix by 13. Don't go anywhere. The Code Sports NBL Blitz.
This is Kim, head pilot of Balloon Aloft Canberra, one of the city's top outdoor attractions. It's no wonder Kim hasn't told you about it, as he always says, didn't think I had to. Canberra, there's more than they're telling us.
Hoops Fest, a basketball extravaganza like nothing this country has ever seen before.
Great destination to watch NBL basketball. WNBL, we've got it all.
It's a basketball bonanza here in Perth.
All eyes of the world are on Perth at the moment. Hoop Fest is such a great success for us.
Fall in love with Hungry Jack's new Jack's Fried Chicken Southern Style Tenders. Crispy, juicy, 100% Aussie chicken that will have you craving more and more. Now at Hungry Jack's.
Ziggy, no! Ziggy. That's it, we're going to the shop.
Riding on the highway, going to a show. It's a long way to the top if you wanna.
Sausage roll?
Got 4 left.
New Mitsubishi Outlander. It's a bit rock and roll.
We are super excited to be here in Canberra this week for the NBL Blitz, and all of the games are at night. So we thought we needed to find some things to do during the day. And Pete, we've been told all about the world famous Capital Brewing and the world famous Brodburger.
I mean, we've been here less than 24 hours. The locals say, get down, try Brodburger, and they said there's nice beers as well, so you've got me sold.
Well, they are our two favourite things outside of basketball, of course, are beer and burgers. We are dying to get in there and check it out. Come with us, let's go. What would you suggest? All right, 2 Brodburgers, please. Look at this. This looks unreal.
What have we been waiting for?
Woo.
How's the aioli for it?
Look at this. We were not disappointed, Pete. We've got full tummies We've got happy bellies. We had such a blast here.
That was delicious, and I'm ready for another beer, so let's roll.
It is so much fun here at Capital Brewing. Go in and check it out. The Brod Burger is as good as everyone says it is. It is one of a range of things that you can do here in Canberra this weekend while you're here for the NBL Blitz.
Yeah, let's go.
So much to do and see around Canberra here at the NBL Blitz, the CODE Sports NBL Blitz at the AIS Arena. Joel Peterson, Derek Rucker can confirm, or at least in my case, no beers were consumed prior to the beginning of this broadcast.
No doubt, and it's just been a great time. You know, Felix and I didn't get the brewery tour. You know, we had the Cheetah tour, so
Yep.
I feel like we got the better end of the deal.
Yep. And Felix and I got the Parliament House tour.
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of culture yesterday, but it's been such great fun. Last 2 days, spectacular weather. So much to see and do around the place, which has been very, very cool indeed. So if you get the chance, whether it's for a WNBL game or any kind of hoops action, make sure you do get the trip down to Canberra. People have come here from all around the place as we take a look at some of our first half highlights. We ran into people at the Parliament House tour who were from Toowoomba yesterday, a few Brisbane Bullets supporters who'd made the trip down. So there is so much on offer in this part of the world. As we take a look at our first half highlights, Sean Bruce has been involved. John Brown's got 9 points for Phoenix. Angus Glover's got 14. He hit a couple of threes in that first half. And it was Renz Blyenberg who ended the first half on a great note for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, who've been really impressive to half-time.
They have, and they've just got really good contributions from a number of players, and some guys that were down in their first game here at the Blitz have lifted. And, you know, I said with respect to Angus Glover, when he knocks down that first shot, you got to watch out for him, and this has been the case. He's off 14 points. He's hit 3 or 4 threes, and he gives them a spark. Jordy Hunter and Nathan Sobey haven't really done much in this game, but they haven't been required. And they've had good contributions from Malik Lewis, and they look really balanced. But most importantly, on the defensive end, they've done a good job in containing Sydney. Sydney only shooting 34% from the field, and the Kings have to come out right here in this third quarter and change their defensive fortunes. They need to make Southeast Melbourne do some things that they don't want to do.
11 offensive rebounds in the first half for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix as well, shooting at 47% from downtown. The Kings at 21%, 3 of 14. And here's Blyenberg on the feed inside to Mitchell. So he's been scoring, he's been facilitating. Glover hit back-to-back threes and really had the hot hand going for a little while there. You can see toward the end of that first half that Angus Glover had things going. And then here's the halftime buzzer beater from the big Belgian Blyenberg, who got that to go over Jalen Galloway to give them something very nice to go into halftime with.
Well, it's also been the effort plays. Owen Foxwell's come off the bench and provided really good hands. He's got a couple of steals, and he's been quick to loose balls, and he's not the only one. John Brown, I think, has really changed the personality of this team by coming into this lineup. You can see what impact he has on the confidence level of the group, and it just gives the Southeast Melbourne a toughness that we really haven't seen them have really since their inception into the National Basketball League.
He looks like he could be a problem for a lot of opposing teams. First game of 2 here on the final day of the CODE Sports NBL Blitz. New Zealand and Cairns still to come. That will decide the winner of the Loggins Bruton Trophy. It is the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix by 13 points at halftime of Game 1. Second half is coming up after this.
Oh my goodness! Kyrie Jones who dunked all over the top of him.
We don't do clickbait, fake news, or influencers. And you can keep your FOMO, cheap tricks, and propaganda. We want nationwide muscle.
Get that, India! Rise again!
Robust opinion.
It's on here!
The voice of sport.
No way! That is massive!
Anything else is just noise. CODE Sports. No BS, just sport. Grab the app today.
Floriade, Australia's biggest celebration of spring, returns to Commonwealth Park in Canberra from September 13 to October 12, 2025. Marvel at 1 million beautiful blooms as you dive into nature's laboratory with this year's theme, Science and Nature. Explore Floriade's dark side at Nightfest with vibrant illuminations and entertainment from October 2 to 5. Visit floriadaustralia.com. Proudly presented by All Homes and produced by the ACT Government.
Cooper! Enough screens! Time to go outside!
Build your dream lifestyle with Dream Courts. Custom professional and in-home sports courts Australia-wide.
Just about set for second half action here at the Code Sports NBL Blitz. Joel Peterson, Derek Rucker with you. Another very solid crowd has rolled into the AIS Arena. Sold out throughout the 5 days, this NBL Blitz. And it has been such good fun. So many people here, so many basketball colours around. There's Grace Kemp, one of the NRLW Raiders, part of the New South Wales State of Origin setup as well. Of course, a big day for the Raiders men's program yesterday, finishing top in the National Rugby League and their women's team. And that competition as a whole going from strength to strength. So great to have one of the local Raiders women sitting courtside and enjoying the action. She almost ended up with Nathan Sobey in her lap at one point as well as he chased a loose ball toward the side of the floor. So getting up close and personal with all the action as we get toward the start of the second half. As began Andrew Bogut, a broadcast colleague of ours at times last season, of course, who's joined the Sydney Kings coaching staff for this year, standing right in front of us, Ruck. What do you think he brings to the equation for Brian Goorjian? You can see him there just at the left of your screen. What does he bring for Brian Goorjian to this coaching outfit for the Kings this season?
Well, he has great X's and O's. He knows what is required to play winning basketball. He gives you somebody that naturally can work with the big men in the modern game. Defensively, he has a very good outlook and perspective on the way schemes need to be drawn up, in particular as it applies to the NBL, even though he hasn't spent much of his basketball career in the NBL. And of course, as a championship winner with the Golden State Warriors, there's an auto respect toggle that comes with him. And when he lays down the law, it is really the law. And, you know, I thought the Kings needed to upgrade their coaching staff in this offseason, and they've certainly gone about that in the correct fashion.
Brings some real authority to the table. Been in conversation with Matthew Dellavedova for quite a lot of the pre-game. Of course, former national team teammates, those two, and spent a lot of time in the NBA together. Xavier Cooks is going to start this second half for the Kings. Qual, Dellavedova, Suarez, Cooks and Galloway. So Cooks did not start the game for Sydney, but he will start the second half. Foxwell, Sobey, Brown, Hunter and Lewis. 5 for Josh King. 15 or 13-point lead to the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix as we start the second half of Game 9 here at the Code Sports NBL Blitz. Suarez rumbles into Brown and he's called for the offensive foul.
Excellent defensive possession there by John Brown. He did a good job on the early screen and then played well down on the post and then makes the adjustment as Suarez got Hunter off his feet with a three-point shot fake, and Brown steps in there and takes a nice charge to nullify that possession for the Sydney Kings.
Been a much more sharp performance from the Phoenix. And Owen Foxwell ensures it continues to be on point.
Great pass there from Sobey. Got that thing all the way to the weak side of the floor for Foxwell. Dellavedova going to work, nothing happening.
Keeps it alive. Brown taps it on.
Brown's just rugged, man. You're really going to have to deal with him, and he's annoyingly rugged in a great way for Southeast Melbourne Phoenix.
Is he the type of player who could find himself in sort of foul trouble throughout the course of the season? We always talk about it.
I think Joel is experienced enough. He's played enough international basketball to know when to push the button and when to pull back off of it. As Suarez hits a jump shot.
Does it make a difference that he comes from the European environment as opposed to the US environment as well?
Now, he will have to get used to the way the game is interpreted and refereed here in Australia, which can be problematic for new imports.
But is there a difference in interpretation in the way that it is interpreted and refereed in Europe as opposed to the US?
Definitely.
Yep. Do you think that works in his favour more? So is it more toward what we do here?
From what I've seen so far from him, I don't think he's going to have a problem with adjusting and adapting to whatever environment he plays in. Nice three ball from Dellavedova as Foxwell clips him on the arm. But yeah, I think John Brown is professional enough, and I don't think fouls are going to be a problem. Everyone gets in foul trouble from time to time, but I don't see it being a concern with his style of play on the defensive end.
Daly at the line, can't add the bonus. 60 to 48, Sobey wastes no time. That one's a little bit offline. We know he's a volume shooter as opposed to high efficiency, Nathan Sobey. 31% three-point shooter last season. He made big shots when he needed to, that is for sure. After a pretty rocky start to the season, he took, especially toward the end in that playoff push, he looked really good as part of that Southeast Melbourne Phoenix team.
In the past 3 years, he's one of the most improved veteran players in the competition. He's really taken real note and stock of all the other aspects of the basketball game, aside from scoring. And you see he's a better defender now. He rebounds the ball better. If he gets one there, he assists the ball better. And he's still an exceptional athlete as Lewis tries to take on the whole Kings squad.
There was a lot of purple there that Malik Lewis was trying to deal with. Of course, he's one of the co-captains too, Sobey, along with Geordie Hunter. So it provides a lot of leadership, direction for this team. And I think the way that he plays the game, like he plays with passion, he plays with intensity, Sobey, it could probably be misinterpreted at times. And in the times he has seemed like, you know, a little bit like maybe he didn't channel that in the best way. But I feel like, particularly toward the back end of last year, it seemed like he really nailed down on that, and it was a good influence from that perspective. That was an absolute rifle of a pass from
Sure was.
Lewis.
Sent the Kings bench scattering.
He scrambled down to our left. The LED signage just leaning back as well.
Southeast Melbourne has been superb on the defensive end in this game.
Suarez blocked by Hunter. Have a bit of that. The former teammates set up a meeting at the rim, and Geordie Hunter got a massive bit of it.
Outstanding pass from Dellavedova, and Hunter meets him at the apex. Suarez says, "I got you." Hunter says, "No, you do not, big fella."
And then he gets him again on the way up. What
Good
a play
basketball
from Geordie Hunter. He was the hunter on that occasion. Suarez was his prey. There's that mid-range jump shot for Brown once more. That one won't fall. Dellavedova in rhythm. 12-point lead to the Phoenix, 6.5 remaining. CODE Sports NBL Blitz, Day 5. Joel Peterson and Derek Rucker with you in commentary. Kings and the Phoenix looking for a first win of this Blitz campaign. The Breakers have arrived in the building, getting set for Game 2 against the Taipans. Cross-court pass from Daly to Galloway in the corner. That's really nice.
Jalen Galloway. 10 points now with 6 rebounds.
Lone King in double figures. Margin back to single figures.
Nice offense.
Sobey finishes it off.
Southeast Melbourne just keep doing enough. Every time there's a real threat from Sydney. And right there, John Brown does a great job on the box out. I love how physical he is in different aspects of the game.
Courtney getting set to check into the game after a little bit of a dap from you mid-contest. Another bucket for the Phoenix, pushes it out to a 14-point lead. 3-ball will roll in for Galloway. 13 points.
And Sydney will make wholesale changes. They'll go 4 in at the next dead ball. And I think Brian Gorgon is just looking for a lineup that can string some stops together.
Sobey for 3. Gorgon gives Paul Quall an almighty pat on the back after he looked a bit frustrated after that possession.
Well, Southeast Melbourne are shooting it really well from outside the 3. They've knocked down 12 3-balls in this game at 48%.
Going to get wholesale changes here, Ruck. 9 substitutions. The Kings with 4. Southeast Melbourne will put an entirely new lineup in there of Gack, Mitchell, Maldonado, Blindberg and Glover. Quoll, Cooks, Galloway, Dellavedova come off for Sydney. Malawatch, Noy, Bruce and Awan head out there for Brian Gorgon. Tim Suarez, the lone holdover, on the floor of 10 at the moment. Sean Bruce wastes no time making an impact. $11-point lead. Quall and Robertson, the lone Kings, not to have scored in the game thus far. Roger Gack hasn't for Southeast Melbourne, but he stops Noy from doing so. Malawatch up and in on Blindberg. He retreats a long way toward half court. Mitchell for 3 won't go. A little bit frustrated on that possession, did Blindberg after he got rid of it.
Bruce and Maldonado tangled up. With the Phoenix maintaining an 11-point lead late in this 3rd quarter. Brian Gorgon will be looking for this bench crew to make a run. But it's got to start on the defensive end. The Phoenix continue to get good looks. The Kings have been lucky that some of those shots haven't gone down.
%46% for the Phoenix, 46% from 3 as well, 12 of 26. Malawatch all the way down the lane. Blindberg been called for the foul by Bianca Vernon.
Now he maintains that he got this clean.
Foul is on.
We didn't get a clean look there.
No. Bianca Vernon, Nathan Duran, Michael Aylen, our refereeing trio this afternoon. Suarez for 3. Cans that. He shot it with regularity in his last 2 seasons over in Japan and improved year on year. Something we didn't see a lot from him in his previous NBL stop that he's added to his game in increasing capacity. 8-point lead to the Phoenix. 3 minutes remaining, 3rd quarter. Code Sports NBL Blitz, day 5. Final game, Cairns and New Zealand to come, will decide the Loggins Bruton Trophy for season 2025. We will, of course, have 2026, I should say, and the Ray Borner medal will be awarded as well. As Tim Suarez finishes things off, and we're back to a 6-point game.
Nice run here by the Sydney Kings. Done a good job of rebounding the basketball. In the first 7 minutes of this 3rd quarter, they have not allowed an offensive rebound by the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. Been a lot of one-and-dones, and the Kings have narrowed that 13-point halftime deficit by 7 points. Got ourselves a ball game now, Joel. Let's see what Josh King comes up with in this timeout. it's evident that when John Brown III is on the floor, the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix looks significantly better.
Yep, and the lineup change from Brian Goorjian going with 4 new players out there certainly worked and provided a little bit of a spark that they needed. Galloway's got 13, Glover's got 14 to lead the scoring for each of these two teams. Suarez with 12, Lewis has got 10, John Brown III has got 11.
And Sean Bruce has done a good job off the bench for the Kings. He got 9 points on 67% in only 13 minutes, so he's been solid.
Classic Matthew Dellavedova, 9 points and 7 assists for Delhi. Sobey's got 8 rebounds, Foxwell 6 assists. It's casting her eye around international basketball. The Australian under-16 team is in action in the Asia Cup at the moment. Ruck, they played Bahrain today.
Score?
They won 141-47. Wow. Here's Mitchell going to the hoop. Maldonado inside his foul, so Australia beating Bahrain 141-47 at the Under-16 Asia Cup. A massive win for the Aussies. It's quite the stat line. Luke Rowland-Paul, one of the young guns, put together 29 and 12. So almost a triple-double for that Under-16 men's squad. Of course, our national finals today in the NBL 1 being taken out by Knox and by Canberra. Will Mayfield, the MVP of the men's. Paige Bradley, the MVP of the women's. It's been a great week of basketball here at Canberra at the AIS Arena and down at Southern Cross Stadium as well.
Nice hands by Glover.
Bodies fight for the loose ball. Maldonado stepping back. Seven-point game. Kings have fought their way back into it. And a chance outside for Awan.
Awan playing with a lot of confidence. His second stint in the basketball game, and he's making it count. 5 points. Trying to show Coach Brian Goorjian, you can trust me.
A couple of interesting lineups out here for both teams now. So Cooks and Noy, the 2 nominal bigs for Sydney. Mitchell and Brown, the 2 bigs for Southeast Melbourne. So both teams going with a bit of small ball. Suarez comes off the floor. 4-point game, 2 minutes remaining, third term. Sobey off to Brown. Beautiful basketball from the Phoenix.
And that's where Sobey's really improved as a player. I mentioned his veteran improvement over the past couple of seasons, and he can use his athleticism and his vision to really make his teammates' life easier on the offensive end.
Malowich rumbles into Glover. Out to Bruce. Kings keep it alive once more. Noy, Awan, Bruce, 3-ball from the wing. Rebound secured by Glover.
Game's picked up.
Indeed it has. We've had some great action across the course of this Code Sports NBL Blitz. Tassie have been the chief protagonists in probably the best 2 games of it so far, both 97 and 95 wins. Cooks does enough on defense there to upset Glover. 5-on-4 opportunity here for the Kings. Malowich, Noy, 3-ball. .50 seconds remaining. Now Glover to answer back. He nestles it in.
Poor defensive transition by the Kings. Didn't communicate, didn't use their eyes.
Big swing in the game there. Bruce misses the 3 at one end. A number of occasions they couldn't come up with the answer, the Kings, and Glover's able to hit. He's got 17 points in the game. Second difference between shot and game clock as the third quarter winds down. Sobey up top. Glover's looking for Brown. Brown's looking for Sobey, to Mitchell, to Maldonado. They swing the rock and come up with the results. Terrific finish to the third term for the Phoenix. And they are able to put their foot on the gas pedal and push it out to a 12-point lead with a quarter to go. 77-65 off the back of a couple of beautifully executed possessions.
Well, outstanding direction and point guard instruction by Nathan Sobey on that last possession. They got it in the block to Brown, and Sydney overcommitted, got themselves in rotation, and Phoenix moved it. And got the corner three to close out this third quarter and go up by 12. And we look at the numbers. Southeast Melbourne knocked down 14 threes at a 47% clip. They are cooking from the perimeter, and the Kings are subpar from the field.
9th best three-point shooting team last season, Southeast Melbourne. Only at 33% for the season, so, I mean, they're not going to shoot it at 47% through the NBL campaign. If they do, they'll win the championship by the length of the Flemington Straight, but this is a really nice start in terms of, you know, what Josh King would want to see in terms of, yes, you can make the shots, but the offensive execution, the ball movement has looked really good from them.
Well, I think Josh King would be very happy with the style of play and the fact that they pretty much control the tempo and they're playing at their pace. Sydney with 65 points on 36% is a good place for Southeast Melbourne to be. And they've dominated the glass. They've got 13 offensive rebounds. They're up 9 in the total rebound count. And the scoring distribution is very good. John Brown III's got 13. Glover's got 17. Look at the assists. Foxwell and Sobey are doing a good job of distributing the basketball. This is a much better performance, and I did not anticipate this level of improvement from game one to this game here.
The Kings made a run at them in that third term as well. They were able to narrow the gap. Only a couple of points, but the end of that term for Southeast Melbourne delivered them the upper hand in the game going into the last quarter. Maldonado, an inventive pass. Brown with a wild shot. Brown's got 13. He's been impressive in his first outing here at the NBL Blitz. Code Sports. Stories behind every NBL game. Head to codesports.com.au or download the app as Quatnoy drives inside.
Nice offense there. Quatnoy is able to cross up Mitchell as Mitchell came on the closeout.
Of course, fans of these two teams, Ruck, get some of the best coverage in the game thanks to Code Sports. Of course, Matt Logue does such a terrific job with hoops here in New South Wales, and Mick Randall and the crew out of Melbourne covering the game with expertise. Lewis. 10-point lead to the Phoenix. Sobey to the elbow and hits.
He's been really smart in the past 6 or 7 minutes. Able to use a high screen there and just get to his mid-range.
Dellavedova with that trademark off-balance awkward floater. Nathan Sobey flung the ball cross court, realised the pass was nowhere near Bianca Vernon as he went to rush in and help Maldonado. Maldonado just on the end of the bench there, receiving some treatment from the trainers. He's been in the wars so far, but showing no ill effects of that little knee complaint that he had in the first half.
That's
Foxwell.
nice offense.
Sobey was weaving his way through the paint. Relocates. Can't hit the three.
John Brown does a terrific job of setting screens, good angles, and he makes the defender feel as DJ Mitchell stumbles over.
No, he's no good. Cooks couldn't keep it in purple hands. Mitchell on the drive.
That's how you run the floor. Get yourself an easy bucket. Phoenix up 14.
Mitchell's got 8 points. Turnover for the Kings, number 9 of the game. Lewis. Mitchell has all day.
He can do that with the best of them. DJ Mitchell now with 11 points. Shooting that ball well. He's 1 of 2 from the 3. And he has had a positive impact on this basketball game. Gives you good size. A quick 5 points right there to stretch this thing out to 17.
You can win a WNBL Family Season Pass. Download the WNBL app now. Stay close to all the action throughout the course of the season. Of course, some of the stars of the competition. Jade Melbourne playing right here for the Canberra Capitals. Kayla George headed to the Southside Flames. Big names right across the competition. WNBL season starts October 18. New look this season. There's a 19 coming into the competition in the next couple of seasons as well. So much to like about what our women's basketball stars are doing in this country. And the WNBL, one of the premier leagues in the world for a long, long time now. And that reputation is only going to grow over the next couple of seasons. Of course, NBL action kicks off September 18 down in Tassie. Round 1 of the season. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. We've got the Cairns Taipans in round 1. Sydney Kings will, of course, be in action as part of the international series with Partizan and Panathinaikos. So they play Partizan on the 21st of September. They start their season against Cairns on the 28th. And then the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, of course, have got the NBA series against the New Orleans Pelicans as part of round 3 of the NBL season. So some big opportunities against overseas giants for both of these clubs and their fans in the early part of the year.
Well, exciting opportunity for basketball fans right across Australia. You get a taste of EuroLeague, you get a taste of NBL and NBA. Extremely rare.
So much on offer for Hoops fans throughout the course of 25-26. Dellavedova works his way inside. He's into double figures. To go with 8 assists for Dally. He's got 11.
Strong Dom Foxwell just backed him down into the paint, elevated.
Foxwell wants some of his own back. Gets tangled up with Dellavedova. He helped him up to the court with a certain level of disdain, I would say. He didn't really want to go over there and elbow Foxwell up, but thought he should.
Yep, and in the process almost jerked Foxwell's arm out of his shoulder socket.
Dislocated his shoulder on the way up.
Kings have committed 3 early fouls here in this 4th quarter. Got to be able to defend and shut Phoenix down intelligently. Wow.
Foxwell from deep clanks that one off the backboard. There you go, Mitchell might have got a poke in the eye there.
And this has been a good hit out for Josh King with respect to John Brown. He hasn't had to use Jordy Hunter a lot in this game, and giving John Brown a chance to feel the NBL in this context and use different lineups with him and see what it looks like.
And this lineup with the Blindberg and Brown out there as the 2 bigs they've used quite a bit. Brown, of course, he may not be the traditional giant to a big man, but he plays big. As you said earlier, he's a rugged individual. Lewis from behind the backboard. Always going to be challenging. Noy in attack mode. Backs down on Blindberg.
Good
Turns
defense.
back to the middle. It was indeed. 6:30 to go. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix by 15, looking for a first win of the Blitz. New Zealand and Cairns to come here on day 5. As Owen Foxwell rattles in a 3-pointer.
Nice pass there by the Unicorn. Foxwell lost Galloway, relocated to the weak side corner, and Blydenberg found him. Foxwell with a huge 3.
Sean Bruce dashing inside. Foxwell, good hands. Brown keeps it alive, straight to Quoll. Drops it off to Suarez. Left hand finish is nice. (87-71). New Zealand and Cairns still to come. to decide the Loggins Bruton Trophy for season 2026.
Foxwell continues to dice up the Sydney Kings defense. He's so slippery with the basketball. Stronger than you think he is. He's wiry. He can shoot the three. And you have to respect him when he's deep out on the floor. And he's got the confidence where he'll let it fly. But then the moment you just crowd him a little bit too much, he's able to use his really good ball skills, and he can go either way on you. Naturally, he prefers to go left, but as we saw right there, if you show too much onto his left side, he'll beat you right. He's got a floater. He's got a little right-hand put shot and a little bit more vertical athleticism than maybe readily apparent.
He's just continued to add to his game over the last couple of seasons, hasn't he? Every year there's just a little bit more in that kit bag.
He's very cat-like.
Brucing all the way inside. That one was a wild heave. Sobey at the other end. 20-point lead for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, who are making a bit of a statement against Sydney here in this final game of their final game of the Code Sports NBL Blitz.
And Joel, this is the lineup we saw Josh King go to a lot late in the season with Foxwell, Sobey, and Glover. And it led to the realization that they didn't need Derek Walton Jr. as Glover knocks a big three down from the right wing. Angus Glover with 20 points in the game. And the Phoenix are pulling away.
21-point lead now, a new game high for Southeast Melbourne. Suarez loses it. It is all the Phoenix at the moment.
Sobey trail.
Blyenberg in the corner. They are raiding into threes. And Brian Gorgon has seen enough. Get him on the next plane to Sydney. He wants to get out of here. 24-point lead. And it has been a fourth quarter clinic so far from the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. Kings have got some work to do. Of course, they'll be taking on the EuroLeague's Giants. You can buy your tickets now. Scan the QR code on screen. Melbourne and Sydney, Partizan, Panathinaikos, the Sixers and the Kings, some of the biggest names in international basketball. It's going to be a super exciting series.
And you know, this is a very difficult league. When you think someone is down, Joel, we see it so often over the past couple of seasons with the increased parity in the NBL. You have to be sharp. A team must be working at least 90% capacity to be able to win games. We come in here this afternoon and you think, okay, the Kings will put it together and they'll handle Southeast Melbourne. Southeast Melbourne didn't look that good, blah, blah, blah. And they ramp up their defensive pressure, Southeast Melbourne. The three guards have had a really good game and playing good balanced basketball. We know they're going to be well coached, and now the Kings find themselves down 24 midway through this fourth quarter.
There's some questions to be asked. They will leave the Blitz winless. The Sydney Kings won both of their pre-season games against Tassie in the Northwest before coming here. Malawatch denied by Hunter, who's been a powerful presence in there with a couple of big blocks. And he's going to be rewarded on the other end. It just falls off the front of the rim. And now it's all opening up. Blyenberg bangs it down. Awan with another three from the corner. Been a little bit of a bright spark for the Kings with 8 points. Showing a bit of what he can do.
Southeast Melbourne will just work this offensive possession and then they'll make wholesale changes. Glover, realizing what's to come, decides I'll get one off.
23-point lead for the Phoenix. Going to top 100 points with relative ease with over 3 minutes remaining. unit getting set to check in for Josh King. Xavier Cooks was going to come in, and then he's been motioned back to the bench. Glover for three. Hunter taps it out. They will get a few fresh bodies in here. Ryan, Jack, Maldonado coming in for Phoenix. Ryan, part of this squad without a Ketchalia, who Josh King really likes the look of. Unfortunately can't be here at the Blitz due to personal reasons. So Pat Ryan, the Keilor NBL1 product. Reinberg with some nice defense on Malawatch. Ryan interested to bring the ball up. Tried to float it home. Spent 4 years at Menlo College in California. Suarez puts it on the floor. Almost lost it out of play. Jack pokes it away from him. It's unraveling for the Kings here in this fourth period. And it has been a performance that Josh King, well, he wanted a response. He wanted to see a different mentality from his team, and he has absolutely seen it, Ruck.
He has, and the offensive productivity is great, but we know Josh King is looking at the other side of the floor, and he wanted to see, as Glover throws one inside the Jack, he wanted to see a much improved defensive performance, and he got it.
76 points for the Kings so far, shooting 37%, 34% from outside. They're plus 11 in the rebounds, the Phoenix, plus 6 offensive rebounds. They forced 13 turnovers. So I would imagine they will have ticked a few boxes from what Josh King wanted to see. And they've got 3 preseason games to come as well.
Well, the other thing is they've got 7 guys in double figures. And not only does that do great things for your chances of winning basketball games, but it's a tremendous way to build team. And guys feel good about themselves and about each other. And often that is reflected on the defensive end.
101 points now for Southeast Melbourne. High score of this Blitz so far, 109, was put up against them by the New Zealand Breakers. Malawatch from outside is able to connect on a triple. Of course, the Code Sports NBL Blitz. Great to have the support of Code Sports. And coverage of the NBL throughout the course of season 2026 will lead the way. Live for slam dunks, clutch threes, and nail-biting finishes. You need Code Sports. Brings you closer to the NBL action. So the stars on the court, the stories off it. You can fuel your passion for basketball at codesports.com.au or download the Code Sports app to keep across everything happening in the National Basketball League.
And Maldonado at the free throw line, he hasn't been flashy or made a lot of noise with his production, but he's got 13 points, a couple of assists in only 15 minutes, so he's been really productive in his minutes. And that's a good role for him to play because, you know, Sobey, Foxwell, and Glover are so good on the perimeter. They don't need someone dominating usage in Maldonado's position. He has to be timely and efficient with what he does.
There was that question mark over exactly what the imports were going to bring. He said right off the top, "I'm going to be a watch." Brown's delivered. Leinberg's been encouraging, and Maldonado's been really solid, as you talk about, Ruck. So from that perspective, the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix would be very pleased.
And that was a great defensive possession there by DJ Mitchell, and then he almost fumbles the ball and gets it back, but Mitchell did a good job on 2 isolated plays and then was able to get the defensive rebound, and that's an area where he's been criticized in his time in the NBL. So it's obvious that Josh King's message to him is, you've got to show me intensity on the defensive end, and even right there, he's still playing, which is a good sign, even though he committed a foul.
Minute 5 remaining. Southeast are going to walk away with a big win. It's not going to be the biggest win of the Blitz. That was Melbourne's evisceration of Brisbane yesterday by 38 points. Afternoon to Andrew Gaze, who might be watching. It was a spifflication. Gazy.
I'm sure Andrew's watching. Hello, Drew. See you soon.
The legend in the Sport Australia Hall of Fame. No doubt about that. And going in with Belinda Clark, two of the absolute greats and great people as well. Belinda Clark, an absolute champion of Australian sport, as is our man AG. What a coaching season he put together with the Melbourne Tigers as well. Georgia Gack making his way to the hoop. Defending Noi from doing so, I should say. What would be the big work on for the Kings coming out of this for Brian Georgian, do you think?
Well, it's funny you mentioned Andrew Gaze, and we just had that discussion about the legend. But he often talks about the two-way nature of basketball, and so often we get very focused on the one-way impact. But right now, I think the Kings could really work on their offense, and I think some of the poor offense is hurting them on the defensive end. Now, I guarantee you Brian Georgian would not agree with my perspective. It's an absolute situation for him. He wants to see just better defense, full stop. And I can understand that, but certainly at some point they're going to have to be better on the offensive end, and of course defensive rebounding.
52 rebounds to 41 the way, 42 the way of the Phoenix. Sean Bruce. It's a little bit too much air under that one. And we wind down here to the final seconds. Southeast Melbourne and Sydney. We're not going to get the Luka Doncic style handshake here and the French player racing to the bucket like we saw in Eurobasket overnight. And it is going to be a big win to the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix to close out their CODE Sports NBL Blitz. The team in green will be very happy with that. 102 to 81. They run away from the Sydney Kings in the second half and end their Blitz campaign on a powerful note. One that Josh King and his crew will be very, very pleased with indeed.
A solid performance from Southeast Melbourne. They came into this game wanting improved defense, and they got it. But what they also got was outstanding shooting from the perimeter. They knocked down 19 threes at 48%. Offensive rebounded the ball exceptionally well in the first half when the game was pretty much decided and the kind of tempo of the game was first established. Angus Glover with 20 points. Sobey with 9 rebounds. And just a very, very team-based performance in getting this win from Southeast Melbourne.
Business-like from the Phoenix, no doubt about that. Of course, New Zealand and Cairns is game 2 from 6 o'clock Eastern time. You are sticking around for that. That's in about 55 minutes from now. We'll be on air in about 45 minutes from now. I am jetting off, Ruck. It's been great to share the airwaves and plenty of time with you over the last couple of days, and I really look forward to seeing you when the season starts proper from September 18th.
It's going to be great, man.
It's going to be good fun indeed. Thanks for your company. Felix von Hoff jumping into commentary for the final game of this CODE Sports NBL Blitz. It will decide it all. Cairns and New Zealand for the Loggins Bruton Trophy. Of course, the Tassie Jack Jumpers can still win it as well. So it'll be fascinating to see how it all pans out. That's coming up not too far away. Stick around. Plenty more to come here from the AIS Arena in Canberra. Southeast Melbourne win it by 21. More CODE Sports NBL Blitz action to come.
Bye.